Fusion, as we saw, it is denoted with a closed bracket, and adhesion is by a line drawn above the symbol of the floral part, right? So this is how the symbol of adhesion is used for. And floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion. Cohesion is nothing but that is, it is within the parts of the world. ഒരു വേൾഡ്, that is, if it is പെറ്റലിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് എങ്ങനെയാണ് ഓരോരോ പെറ്റൽസും എങ്ങനെയാണ് പ്ലേസ് ആയിട്ടുള്ളത്, that is cohesion. And adhesion is the other parts, that is two parts, how it is placed in the world. Okay, so for this floral formula also shows cohesion and adhesion within parts of worlds and in between worlds, right? And floral diagram will give information about the number of parts of a flower, their arrangement and relation, and they have with one another. Okay, so relation with one world to other, how was their relationship. So based on that only floral diagrams are giving information. So it gives information on number of parts of a flower, their arrangement and relation. Okay, how is calyx and corolla related, and how is corolla and androecium related. So based on that they give information. So here they have given the floral diagram of mustard plant and also floral formulae of mustard. So let us see under which family does this mustard plant come. They come under a family which is called as Brassicaceae. So this is the family which has many species in it. One of the examples is mustard plant. Okay, now let us learn about the some important families of the plant kingdom. Let us learn how the floral formula diagram, how their habitat, everything is how it is semi-technically described. Okay, so we will be learning about three families. The first one is the Fabaceae. Let us learn about Fabaceae family. So it is an important family. So this family was earlier called as Papilionodiae. Okay, what is it? Papilionodiae. Papilionodiae. Okay, so it is a subfamily of the family Leguminaceae, right? So this family was earlier called as which family? Fabaceae was earlier called as Papilionodiae, a subfamily of family Leguminaceae, right? So what are these families? We have learned about plant and animal kingdom in your 9th standard, right? So there are classifications which is seen, and we see depending on different characters of organisms, they will be grouped into a particular kingdom, and then comes the suborder, like that comes the class, order, family, then genus, species, everything, right? So organisms are placed in this order. So family in the parayumbo or a larger it is a larger population under which many different genus and species will be found. So this Fabaceae, which it was earlier under Leguminaceae family, so it is Papilionoideae and Papilionoideae. Okay, so it was the earlier name, now it is termed as Fabaceae. And if you take the vegetative characters, before that we should know the habitat of these plants. So these are distributed all over the world, it is seen everywhere. And if you see the vegetative characters, they are present as trees, shrubs, herbs, roots with root nodules also. I hope you remember about the root with the root nodules. So roots will have small spherical structures at the end of them, it is called as the root nodules. Okay, and if you take the case of stem, they are erect or climber. Either they will be erect, or there are few species who are acting as climber also. And if you take the case of leaves, they have alternate leaf. So what is this alternate? We have learnt about the phyllotaxy, right? I hope you remember about phyllotaxy. Phyllotaxy is the pattern of arrangement of leaves on stem or branches, and it is of three type: alternate, opposite and whorled. So in that alternators, in this type, the single leaf arise at each node in alternate manner. Oru node num single leaf only arises, and that too in alternate manner. Okay, alternate nu parnal oru node, so if it is left side of the stem, from one node one leaf is arising, and in the next leaf will arise on the right side of the stem, a little above the earlier leaf, right? So this is how the leaves are arising in alternate. And these families, they will have pinnately compound or simple leaf also. What is pinnately compound? So we know that leaves are of two types. One is simple and the other one is compound leaf. Simple na parayumbo, they will have insertions, and these insertions will not reach the midrib. Okay, so when its lamina is entire, and when incest, the insertions will not reach the midrib. Such a leaf is called as simple. Hibiscus example, insertions are down, but they will not reach the midrib. And when you take the case of compound leaf, in this the incision of the lamina will reach the midrib, breaking it into number of leaflets. And compound leaf, it is of two types, pinnately compound and palmately compound leaf. So if you take the case of pinnately compound leaf, a number of leaflets are present on a common axis called as rachis, and this represents the midrib of a leaf as in neem, right? So this is about pinnately compound or simple. Okay, അപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾ പറഞ്ഞ പോലെ ഈ ഒരു ഫാമിലിയിൽ there are many species and species and who will come under this family, right? So each one of them, they have different type of leaves. Okay, now if you come to the leaf base, the leaf base will be pulvinate. What is this leaf base? It is nothing but it is the part where the leaf is attached to the stem. So that portion is called as the leaf base. എവിടെയാണോ ലീഫ് സ്റ്റെമ്മിനോട് അറ്റാച്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ള ആ പ്ലേസിനെയാണ് we are calling it as leaf base. And in some plants, their leaf base are swollen. That is in leguminous plants we studied. So the swollen leaf base is called as pulvinous. What is it? Pulvinous. And then that is why they have written it as pulvinate. And coming to stipulate, stipulate is nothing but on that arising point below the leaf base, they will bear two lateral small leaf-like structure which are called as stipules, right? So that is why it is called as stipulate. And venation, they have reticulate venation. We know that there are two types of venation. One is parallel venation, other one is the reticulate venation. Okay, so network like design is called as reticulate venation. Now coming to the next part, which is the floral characters. So here inflorescence is racemose. Now what is inflorescence? We have studied inflorescence, right? So there are two types of inflorescence. Let us see what is inflorescence. The arrangement of flowers on the floral axis is termed as inflorescence. Okay, but vegetative, we learnt about habitat, we learnt about vegetative characters. Now we are going to learn about floral characters, right? So in this floral characters, they have inflorescence which is racemose. So these racemose inflorescence na parayunnathu, in this inflorescence, what happens is the main axis will continue to grow. Okay, and the flowers will be borne laterally in an acropetal succession. Right, continuous ആയിട്ട് അതിൻ്റെ ഫ്ലോറൽ ആക്സിസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് നേരെ വളർന്നുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കും. And in the lateral portion of the floral axis, we can see the flowers forming. Okay, and that too in acropetal succession, right? So this is about, what is this acropetal succession? It means that the new flowers and new buds will be formed at the apex portion, whereas the relatively older flowers will be placed at the base portion of the floral axis, right? So such an succession is called as acropetal succession. In cymose inflorescence, the main axis will terminate in a flower, and it is limited in growth, and the flowers are borne in the basipetal order. It means that in the lateral portion, they are found in basipetal order, which means that the older flower will be found in the center portion, and the newer flower will be growing laterally, right? Coming to the flower, it is bisexual and zygomorphic. Bisexual means it will have both male and female reproductive part in the same flower. And what is zygomorphic? So we have learnt about two types of symmetry, right? Actinomorphic and zygomorphic. Actinomorphic symmetries are nothing but it is radial symmetry. It means that when a flower is divided into two equal radial halves in any radial plane passing through the center, we are calling it as actinomorphic symmetry. And what is zygomorphic? This is the symmetry in which the flower can be divided into two similar halves, and that is each one, and that too can be done only in particular vertical plane. Okay, നേരെ മാത്രമേ അതിനെ മുറിച്ച് രണ്ട് സിമിലർ ഹാഫ്സ് ആയിട്ട് മാറ്റാൻ പറ്റും. They are not equal halves in all the direction. They are similar halves in one single plane, that is the vertical plane, right? Now coming to the next part, which is the calyx. So these flowers will have this Fabaceae flowers will have 5 sepals. Calyx includes the sepals, and these are 5 sepals. And what is gamosepalous? Sepals which are united together, it is called as gamosepalous, right? So sepals are of 2 types, gamosepalous and polysepalous. Gamosepalous nu parayumbol sepals united aayirikkum. Poly means it is free. Sepals will be free. And coming to the next part, which is the gamosepalous, as I said. Now coming to imbricate estivation. So we have learnt about the estivation of the calyx and corolla, right? So what is this imbricate estivation? In this estivation, we see that we are talking about sepals here. So if the margins of sepals overlap one another but not in any particular direction, we are calling the estivation as imbricate estivation. Now what is what is estivation? The mode of arrangement of sepals or petals in a floral axis with respect to other members of the same wall. Okay, ഇപ്പോൾ സെപ്പൽ എടുത്താൽ ആ സെപ്പലിലുള്ള ബാക്കി മെമ്പേഴ്സ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് അറേഞ്ച് ചെയ്തിട്ടുള്ളത്, അവർ തമ്മിലുള്ള അറേഞ്ച്മെൻറ്റ് എന്താണ്, അത് പഠിക്കുന്നതാണ് എസ്റ്റിവേഷൻ. സോ ദ മോഡ് ഓഫ് അറേഞ്ച്മെൻറ്റ് ഓഫ് സെപ്പൽസ് ഓർ പെറ്റൽസ് ഇൻ ഫ്ലോറൽ ബഡ് with respect to other members of the same wall is known as estivation, right? In that, what is imbricate estivation? If the margin of sepals overlap one another, എപ്പോഴാണോ ഈ സെപ്പൽസിൻ്റെ മാർജിൻ it is overlapping one another, ഓക്കെ, ഒന്നിൻ്റെ മേലെ ഒന്നായിട്ടാണ് അത് ഓവർലാപ്പ് ചെയ്താണ് വളരുന്നത്, റൈറ്റ്? സോ ദേ ഓവർലാപ്പ് ഓൺ വൺ അനദർ ആൻഡ് ബട്ട് ദേ ആർ നോട്ട് ഹാവിങ് എനി പർട്ടിക്കുലർ ഡയറക്ഷൻ. ഈ ഡയറക്ഷനിലാണ് ഓവർലാപ്പ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് ഉള്ള കൺഫേംഡ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള ഒരു അപ്പിയറൻസ് അല്ല, ബട്ട് ദേ വിൽ ഓവർലാപ്പ് ഓൺ വൺ അനദർ, റൈറ്റ്? So this is about calyx. Now coming to next part, which is called as corolla. So petals are 5. Corolla are petals, right? So they are 5 and they are polypetalous. What is this polypetalous? They are petals are of 2 types. One is gamopetalous and the other one is polypetalous. Polypetalous means they will have free petals, right? So in these flowers the petals will be free and their estivation is papilionaceous estivation, right? I hope you remember about vexillary estivation, right? So that is called as papilionaceous estivation. So how is the vexillary arrangement of the petals will be there? There will be 5 petals and the largest one is the standard, which overlaps the 2 lateral petals. So this is the standard petal. It overlaps 2 other lateral petals, which are called as wings, and 2 anterior ones forms the keel. Okay, so 2 smallest anterior ones will form the keel. So this type of estivation is called as vexillary estivation, right? And when the petals are when their petals are placed in such a position, it will be enclosing stamina and pistil, right? So it consists of a posterior standard, 2 lateral wings, 2 anterior ones forming a keel, enclosing stamen and pistil. Okay, so this is vexillary estivation. Now coming to andrecium. So there are about 10 andreciums or stamens there. Andrecium are 10 in numbers and they are diacephalous, right? So we learnt about adalphus, we have learned diadalphus and polyadalphus, right? So what is this adalphus? So the stamen in a flower may either remain free or may be united in varying degrees. So if it is free, it is called as polyandrous, and when it is united, we use different names for it, as it has different types of it is differently united, so it has different names like monoadalphus, diadalphus and polyadalphus, right? So what is this diadalphus? In this, the plant will have it will have 2 bundles of stamen. Stamen will be of 2 bundles, right? Such a arrangement is called as diadalphus, right? So di means 2 bundles of stamens are seen here. Okay.